In this video, I'm going to talk to you about 3 things that are keeping you stuck and what you must stop doing. What is being stuck in regards to business? You're stuck in this business could mean that it's following you, that it follows you home on the weekends, that it follows you to dinners, that it follows you on vacation. You are stuck. The business can't run without you. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it being stuck. And you probably started a business not to have the business run your life. You probably started it because you wanted to make more money. You wanted to be free. But somehow, somewhere along the way, you feel stuck. You feel trapped. The business literally can't run without your involvement. And that's what I'm going to talk to you today about, are the 3 things that you need to stop doing in order to get unstuck. And my name is Seth. I've been in this position where I felt stuck, not just as a business owner, but also as an employee, as a manager, to where your whole life is revolved around your business, to where you can't enjoy your life because your business continues to follow you everywhere you go. You may have a second home that you can't even enjoy it. You may want to have time away, but you can't enjoy it. You can't go out onto the boat without getting texts or phone calls from clients or employees. Maybe you started your business because you wanted to give more. You wanted to be a philanthropist. Maybe you wanted to devote more time to a charity or to your church, but because you're stuck in the business, you're not able to put the time in that you want to. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family, but even when you're with your family, you're not present because the business, the demands, the employees, the problems, the clients are coming to you. So there's 3 things that are really keeping you in this situation, keeping you from enjoying the results that you really started the business for. And here's the first one. You need to stop hiring the wrong people. Now, who are the wrong people? The people who are the wrong people that you're hiring, they're not a good fit for your culture. And let me ask you this. Do you know what your culture is? Have you defined what determines your culture? Have you defined it to where you could narrow it down to 4 to 6 words that this is what our culture is? This is not what your culture is. Your culture is not what your website says to your clients. I'm in the business aviation industry, and almost everybody in the business aviation industry has these words that say who they are on their website. They say safety, service, and professionalism. And that is what your client wants, but that doesn't separate or define who you are as a company, your unique DNA as a company. When I'm talking about culture, that's what I'm talking about, is what makes your company unique? What is the DNA of your company? And when you can define that and narrow it down to 4 to 6 words, guess what happens? You stop hiring the wrong people. If you're like me, before I learned this, you were hiring mainly based on the technical competency of the person that you were interviewing or that you decided to hire. Your main criteria was, do they know how to do this job? Can they do this job? Do they have experience doing this job? But somewhere along the line, you hired somebody, you hire people, and it becomes a disappointment. It becomes a point of friction. it has become like contentious. You are driving to work and you're not wanting to go to work because you have to work with these people that you hired. But for some reason, like maybe you can't stand them. I know that sounds crazy to say, but like I know a lot of people who are excellent in what they do. They started a business, they have clients, they're making money. They start hiring people to help, and what happens is they're hiring the wrong people. They're hiring people who aren't a good culture fit, and it's grating on their nerves. They hired people that may be good on paper, but they just don't have that chemistry. And when you hire people that don't have that chemistry, they don't fit. They don't have the same culture DNA as you do and as the company does. Then it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You can like force it in, but it's a lot of work. And this is what happens when you hire people before you have defined what your core values are, what your traits are. What are the 4 to 6 things that make your company unique? And one of the simplest ways to define this is like, who do you love to work with? Like, who is an absolute rock star in your company? And what is it about them? What words can you use to describe them? And when you do that, imagine that you had 10 other employees or 50 other employees that had these exact same traits. They were just like this rock star that you have in your mind right now. When you start to intentionally hire people with those specific traits, besides the technical aspect of the job, when they have the whatever it is that this rock star has that you had in your head when I asked you that, can you imagine if all your employees like had that? Do you know how amazing that would be to work with people that you love to work with? This is how you start to get unstuck. This is how you start to hire the right people, is by identifying what are the core values, what are the traits that make your company unique and different from your competitors. The second thing that you have to stop doing is you have to stop hiring people without clear expectations. You have to stop promoting employees to become managers or supervisors without clear expectations. And what do I mean by that? I've hired people and to do a job. They may have even had prior experience, but I never gave them, specifics on, what they're going to be doing. And a lot of times what happens is their expectations aren't what your expectations are. So they turn out to be not the right person, and they're not even working on maybe the right thing. They're not doing it right. When you have, when I talk about clear expectations, you want to provide and communicate what a job or what a task looks like when the job is done right. This is called having a scorecard. A scorecard is basically every job should have a scorecard for each employee in your company. And the scorecard determines what they were hired to do in the first place. What is the purpose of them being there? Why did you hire them? And then what are the 5 to 8 things that they're going to do on a regular basis, and what does a job well done look like for those 5 to 8 things? You're not telling them how to do it or what to do necessarily, but you're telling them, hey, you're expected, if you do this job right, this is what a good job looks like. And when you are able to have that in a document on what I call a scorecard, it starts to change your employees. They start to first of all, you're giving them autonomy on what to do. You're not just telling them what to do. You're telling them, hey, you're allowing them to get to that task or job, get it done where it looks like it's done right. When you communicate with them what a job well done looks like, and then you let them get to that result, it gives them autonomy, and they feel like they have freedom and they have choice and they have ownership in a task, in the job. They feel part of this. And when you've hired them with the right culture, with the right characteristics and the right traits, and they have the ability to think and to do and to provide a job well done, well, they become super happy. And that all comes from a document. So if you're hiring people and they don't know exactly what they're doing, or not just what they're doing, but they don't know what a job well done looks like for the regular tasks that you're hiring them to do, then stop doing that and start with creating a scorecard. It's pretty simple. It's 3 things. A scorecard is with 1 or 2 sentences. What's the purpose of the job? What's the mission? Why are you hiring them? The second thing is, what are the 5 to 8 things that they're going to be doing, and what does a job well done look like for each of those 5 to 8 things? And the third thing is, like, what are the competencies or the behavioral characteristics that job requires? And you list them down there. When you do this, amazing things start to happen. People, number one, they're getting hired with the right culture fit. They know what's expected of them. They know what a job well done looks like, and they know how they're supposed to act and behave. There's clarity. People love clarity. And what I found as a business owner and also an employee who has helped grow a company from less than $1 million to almost $100 million in revenue, from less than 10 employees to over 130 employees, most employees love clarity. They love black and white. They're not comfortable in ambiguous situations. They're not comfortable working in the gray or being put in a situation where they have to figure it out. But if you take the time to create this scorecard, you're starting to create clarity, and ultimately you're creating psychological safety, which means they feel safe. They know what's expected of them. They know what your expectations are as the boss is for them. You've given them clear direction on what a job well done looks like, and they're going to feel safe, and they're going to be happy. They want to please you. Most people, especially people that fit your culture, they want to please you. They want to do a good job. They want to put the effort in. They want to be able to think. They want to contribute. They want to make the client happy. And taking the time to create a scorecard is how this happens. So again, we're talking about 3 things you have to stop doing. And the first thing is, stop hiring the wrong people. Start hiring for culture fit by defining what your culture is. The second thing is, stop hiring people with no document on what a job well done looks like. Create a scorecard. And the third thing is to stop letting people keep the how inside their heads, the how the job is done. Have you ever hired somebody and they actually did a great job? You didn't have to be on them. You would give them a task and they would do it. They would produce amazing results. They did it so well that they were actually a hands-off employee to you. And then they left. And they didn't write anything down. There was no processes. There was no documentation. And how they got things done just walked out the door with them. when one of the things that you have to stop doing is you have to stop letting people do something without documenting it. And I remember when we started documenting things, and in my head, I was just like, this is painful. I don't know why it's painful. It's just painful. I don't want to have to take the time to write all this down, to create paragraphs and SOPs and, and all that stuff. But I found something that really helped. It's called checklists. And when you document through a series of checklists, it is a game changer. And this right here is how you can get unstuck as the business owner. This right here, documentation through checklists, is how you can be hands off. This is how you can enjoy your weekends. This is how you are enjoying your evenings. This is how you can go on vacation and things not only come to you, but they actually get done, they get handled, and your business grows without you because of a system of checklists. Checklists, they document for you, that they tell people what needs to be done, how it's need to be done, and depending on the tool that you use, it can also be used as a training tool. And the best thing about checklists is this. It's that your clients, your customers get to experience the same consistent service every single time. And if it's a job well done and it's done through a checklist that's documented and lives somewhere, not in somebody's head, you now have something that's scalable, it's repeatable. When you hire new people, guess what? You can teach them how to do something through a series of checklists. This changed how our company went from less than $1 million to almost $100 million in revenue is through a series of checklists. And I'm not just talking about flying planes. We're in business aviation. Checklists are just part of aviation, of flying the airplane. But it's when we incorporated checklists, it's in how we incorporated what to do at the desk with customers, with hiring, with HR, with accounting, with supporting employees, supporting clients, every single thing, every single department has a series of checklists that we've put into place that when we hire people and they ask, hey, what am I going to be doing on a daily basis? Boom, we have this checklist here. And it's anybody can come in and do these things. And again, when we go back to the first thing that I said to stop doing was stop hiring the wrong people. When you could hire the wrong person culturally and they could still do the checklist. Like the checklist is actually one of the most important things. But you don't want to have a business or a company where the right things are getting done, but you dread working with that person. But at the same time, you don't want to love who you work with, but things aren't getting done on a consistent basis. Your client is suffering because they have inconsistency through product or service because everybody does it their own way. You may love working with the employees that you work with, but if the client ultimately is not getting that consistent quality service or product that they're paying for, then it's worthless having the right people when you have the wrong processes. But this is something that can be done and it can revolutionize your business. It can revolutionize your life. Your life can change when you start hiring the right people for culture. When you take the time to identify what is our culture, what are the 4 to 6 words that is unique to us, and you start hiring for that. You also, when you define your core values, you then you now have a standard for which all employees have to abide by. So we came into this at the company that I work at. We came into this when we were about 40 employees. We already had 40 employees in place, and there was a lot of employees that we realized that they don't have the culture fit. So when we when we defined our core values, it gave us a tool to be able to help coach existing employees up, establish the standard with them, not just identifying these core values when we're hiring people for new positions. So those core values, that was huge. And I'm getting text here, so I just lost my train of thought. But I've got my notes here. But when you stop hiring the wrong people, and hiring the right people, and the right people know what's expected of them, and the right people, they have a system, a documented system on how to do it, and it doesn't live in somebody's head. Even when you do lose an employee, guess what? The process and the system didn't leave. You may lose that person, but you didn't lose how it's done, because this is how you operate through a checklist system. All of that to say is that this is how you get free. This is how you enjoy the weekends. Because you have people that are doing things the right way, and your time literally is bought back. This is how you scale. Those three things is how you scale, how you can get repeatable, consistent results for your client without you being involved at every single turn. You're no longer the bottleneck. You're no longer the person that somebody calls every single time that something's wrong. You have a system for it now, and you can start having the business support your lifestyle. And that's really what you started out having a business for, is right? You want the business to support your lifestyle. You don't want to have to be the one that is needed to support the business. So your business supports your lifestyle. You get to really enjoy vacations. You can be present with your family for not just quality time, but quantity of time. You're present with them. You're not being bombarded with problems, texts, phone calls. That was my wife texting me, by the way, not work. But you get to enjoy the weekends. You get to enjoy dinners. You enjoy time off. You can put your hand to that charity or the church event or the missions trip and not have to worry about problems and issues going on at work, because you have the right people doing the right things, and it doesn't involve you. And another huge thing is you get margin back. Just think, if you, as a business owner, you have the luxury of time. You should have the luxury of time. You've put all the effort in. You took the risk to start this business. You took the risk financially, and the payoff is that when it's up and running and working, you should enjoy it. And you should have margin in your life. Your business should provide you margin in your life. You should not have to be involved on the daily direct involvement, of the company. So by stop doing these three things, you're on your way to really enjoying your business. So I hope you got something out of this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.